widely utilized is that program in the state of Ohio?
I would describe it as underutilized. There's a couple of issues.
Can you
One,
quantify it at all?
well, okay, so last year we used about $300 million in linked deposit capacity on small businesses. Now what we've done is we've expanded it. So we have it for, we created it for what we call EcoLink, Energy Conservation for Ohioans. So now a homeowner could do the same thing to make their home energy efficient. And it's the same concept, same model, except a homeowner can do it. So we expanded that by $50 million. We also created, we've used it to we'll do something called Rebuild Ohio. So where these tornadoes wipe through and tear out places, we're able to use that same capacity in that way. And so we can help homeowners rebuild their homes in the same way at a reduced interest rate. So we're expanding. So you got $300 million on the business side. You've got $200 million on the farm side. You've got another $50 million on EcoLink, another $50 million, so that's what, $600 million of capacity. And at 12% of our capacity, our internal rule is that we would never go to 12%. Since I've been here, we try to keep it as in the single-digit range of what we would loan out because we need cash too. The state needs cash, and so it's somewhere in the $600 to $700 million range of what we use for our total linked deposit programs.
Here in your notebook that you passed out, there are some job applications in there under tab B.
Yes.
What's that all about?
So what you have in your packet is, these are, my opponent's going to come in here today, and he is going to, his whole campaign has been about smearing me and and attacking me, and he's got the ads out now, and another piece. But he's made several accusations about the office in terms of contracts, in terms of employees that we've hired, and in terms of cronyism is how he's described it, and spending. What I tried to provide you with in here, so if you open it up, this original page with the bar graph is, so he says we gave this bank that was being charged with pension fund fraud this contract to hold our assets, the custodial agreements. Well, what he won't tell you is that for the first time in the history of the state of Ohio, we bid those contracts out. The treasurer has the sole authority to award those contracts, and that's the way it's been done since the beginning of time. What I decided to do when I came in a midterm, scenario, hiring staff and whatnot, was, let's bid all of the contracts out. Let's just bid them all out. And I thought maybe we could save a few $1 million, and it takes people, politics, relations out of the process, and we'll have a few $1 million that we can talk about. Well, turns out we saved $20 million for our pension funds. Reduced the cost by 63%. And so what you have is a bar graph summarizing where those savings are. So obviously, I guess that's purple or blue would be what the fee was before, and the orange would be what the fee is under me, having bid the contracts out. So I provide you with that, but I go a step further. The articles on the next page are just reporters that have written about it, because I'll raise the issue that he raised. But on the next, after you go past the article, is the actual bids that came into our office. And this is, so he'll say that we awarded them this contract and they shouldn't have got it. Well, what I'm providing you here with is a copy of the bid summary. So who won the bids? And this is the actual sheets here. And you can see for yourself why that bank was awarded the bid, because they were the lowest bidder by far. And that is connected to the $20 million that I just showed, the 63%. It's the same fees, it's the same cost. So that's the first tab, giving you the exact, because he'll come in here and he won't substantiate anything. I thought, well, let me just give you the document yourself. We've done that with all of the newspapers on our line. We've been very transparent, and he continues to make the accusation. And the other thing he'll say, because I think it's important you have all the facts, is he's going to say, well, California, the state of California is suing the bank that was awarded many of these contracts, which is State Street. They're suing them for pension fund fraud. Not true. What California is suing State Street for is something called foreign transaction fees. Foreign transaction fees are when a bank, an international bank, by the way, international bank has a security or something, and sometimes we trade, and there are fees to the trading that's done. Well, the bank gets a cut of that. That is not a part of the contract that State Street has with the state of Ohio and the Treasury. That is not a service, and you can see on the bid form, if you turn to the second page, and on top of it says, proposed custody fees for non-U.S. assets, the global assets. And if you go on the second part of the spreadsheet, the first line, third-party FX, or third-party foreign transactions. And you see it's all blacked out. Well, it's blacked out because no one bid on them, because that's not a part of the contract. It's not a part of the services. You can see Northern Trust put a bid in, but it wasn't a part of the contract, so it wasn't counted, it wasn't included. And so he thinks it's part of our contract services. It's not. By the way, I also add that all the banks that are qualified, he says we outsourced Ohio Jobs, all of the banks that would be qualified to hold global assets would be international banks. So the Ohio banks would not be qualified to hold those assets. So you can see the banks that actually bid on it, none of them are Ohio headquartered or Ohio-based banks, so they would always have been outsourced. They all would have been, or not outsourced, but they all would have been held by a bank outside of Ohio. And all the banks that bid on them were all banks that exist outside of Ohio. So that's just not, it's not a accurate depiction of what we entered into contract with them and with them for. The other thing is that State Street is one of the largest banks in the world. They held these contracts just 2 years ago, or now it'll be 4 years ago, because 2 years before I got in office, they held almost all of these contracts. And again, we bid them out, and they wanted them back, and so they bid it very aggressively or very low, and won those bids. Going to the, you asked about the resume and whatnot. So the other claim that he makes is that cronyism. He says that I hired, we have external offices all around the state. And these offices exist before I got there. They were vacant and we had to fill them. What we did was, so these are people who exist in those communities, and it really goes back to your question about marketing, our programs. These people are program staff, and their job is to get out there and make sure small businesses and other businesses know about our programs, our linked deposit program. So they go to different community meetings, they go to different functions and different things, and they have to know and understand that community very well. And these are not positions I created, by the way. These have always existed there. And so his claim, my opponent's claim, is that I hired the daughter of the former mayor of Toledo, in Toledo. In Cincinnati, his claim is that I hired think about this for a second, the sister of the former mayor in Cincinnati, which I never knew until I became treasurer. But hired the sister of the former mayor of Cincinnati. And this is my response to that. First of all, everyone that we've hired have been the most qualified to do their job. They have definitely been qualified. Cronyism occurs when you hire someone that's not qualified to do a job they're unqualified for. And that's why we provided their resumes, their applications here for you. And I told them before, these people do our financial
Well, I guess
literacy.
it also could occur if you hired someone that was qualified, but you had other choices that were much more qualified.
And we'd be willing to show the resumes of the people who applied as well. We believe these are the best applicants that apply. And let me explain, too, what we're using them for. And I think that'll help paint the picture. So I explained to my opponent that when we hire these people, the whole idea was they do program work with Treasury. They're not on the financial side. They do nothing in the financial arm of the organization. They're all program staff. Well, we designed a new financial literacy program. So one of the things I want to make, one of my top priorities is a financial literacy program that educates everyday Ohioans about making good choices. I grew up in a tough environment, very poor environment, disadvantaged, and I know what people perhaps are missing in terms of making good financial choices. And so we thought this is a good way to educate them using the authority of the Treasurer's office. Well, I explained to him that you see this person as a recent college graduate. This is the daughter of the former Toledo mayor. And I see this person as a person that can go out and connect with other college students that just graduated who are trying to figure out where they're going to work, where they're going to live, the small things that sometimes a 21 or 22-year-old just may not have experienced and known. And we've created a program called Launching into Life that's based on being a college graduate and what are my next steps. And so we focus on important decisions for recent college graduates that can really help shape the direction of their life, helping them to understand credit, helping them to understand credit cards and interest rates.
You might want to work on the federal government a little bit on that.
I'm trying. And so we educated them, we created this Launch in the Life program. But then on the other end, was a woman from Cincinnati who is the former sister of the former mayor there. I see her, he said, no, that's what she was. I said, I see her as a single mom, divorced, mid-career change, with the right credentials and experience. And we created a program for women that also focuses on those single moms who are trying to, same kind of person I was raised by, that could teach them about the difference of the different mortgages, 2-1 buy down, or 3-year ARM, or 30-year fixed, and help educate them. And so you see this person as unqualified, but then when you go into their experience for the jobs that they're doing, it's right here on the resume in black and white, and they are the best choices. And the last thing I'll say about it is, that's why we were recognized by the National Association of Securities Professionals as having the best financial literacy program in the nation. And I have a copy of the award and the letter in this program behind the resumes. And it's that kind of creativity, it's that kind of ingenuity that we wanted to apply to financial literacy, and he just doesn't see it. All he sees is cronyism, and it's like, I barely know those folks. I'm talking about people who can connect, and if the results aren't there, and if they're not qualified, then let's talk. But you got to look at the results and look at their qualifications, and that's why I have no shame of putting their resumes before you and saying, here you go, it's for you to judge, you make the call.
I was going through my email earlier today, and there was some press release, I think, from your opponent's camp saying that you have had a lot of turnover at the top of your administration. I mean, did you fire those 6 people, or did they quit voluntarily?
Well, so this is the deal there, and his email is absolutely, I mean, first of all, it doesn't depict what the plain dealer wrote. I mean, if you look at the plain dealer article and read the stuff, you know it's political. But this is the deal. When I came into office, coming in midterm in January, halfway point of the term, the markets are upside down. Jobs are being jettisoned from our economy daily. And we were concerned about transactions and paying our debt obligations and things, and so we had to hire people in a fast way, in a very expedited process. And in the process, were there a few people here and there that just didn't work out with? Yes. And it's as simple as that. That there were some people that it just simply didn't work out with, and we, when he's been pushing this story, by the way, this was a year ago. None of these people have worked for the Treasury in 2010. This was in the first 6 to 8 months. There were just several people that it just didn't work out with, and we went in a different direction, or they chose to move on in a different direction, and that's it. That's it. And I mean, so his claims, he says that somebody told him this or that, and it's like, well, okay, you got to substantiate that, because we have emails from all those people that you've raised that says, why they left and that they were a good standing or whatever. Your claims are just baseless and false. And we tried to dissuade the plain dealer, even from writing about the original article that wasn't the same as what he said, but by just providing the facts. And it just, he chose to write this email out that, quite frankly, we think is egregiously, does not represent the facts.
We're up on it. That's it.
Thank
That's
you.
our time. So,
Thank you.
went pretty